John Wayne might have been the king of the westerns, but when it came to real-life showdowns, the man had a feud or two, or 15. In fact, it might be quicker to do a list of people he actually liked, but here are 15 people John Wayne just couldn't get along with. Let's start with Clint Eastwood. You'd think these two Western icons would have gotten along like tumbleweeds in desert sand. But nope, Wayne thought Eastwood's darker take on cowboys was about as welcome as a rattlesnake in a bedroll. While Wayne played heroes straight as an arrow, Eastwood's anti-heroes were more crooked than a dog's hind leg. Wayne probably thought Eastwood was trying to turn the Old West into a group therapy session. Next up, Robert Mitchum. These two starred in El Dorado together, but off-screen, they mixed about as well as oil and water. Mitchum's laid-back attitude got under Wayne's skin faster than a cactus needle. It's like Wayne expected everyone to be as wound up as he was. Apparently, playing a drunken sheriff wasn't as difficult as putting up with each other after the director yelled "cut." Now, Kirk Douglas. Wayne once told Douglas he only played losers in his films. Talk about a quick-draw insult. It's one thing to call someone a bad actor, but calling Spartacus a loser, that's like telling a gunslinger his pistol's just for show. Douglas didn't take too kindly to that, and who could blame him? Marlon Brando was another thorn in Wayne's side. These two were as different as prairie dogs and mountain lions. Brando was all about method acting and social activism, while Wayne thought the only method an actor needed was to show up and say his lines. When Brando rejected his Oscar, Wayne probably thought he'd lost his marbles faster than a cowboy in a sandstorm. Even John Ford, the man who directed Wayne in some of his best films, wasn't safe from the Duke's ire. Ford could be meaner than a rattlesnake with a toothache, and even Wayne, tough as old boots, found himself at odds with his mentor. Ford might have given Wayne some of his best roles, but that didn't stop Wayne from wanting to tell him to hit the trail. Rock Hudson and Wayne starred in The Undefeated together, but off-screen, they were about as chummy as a coyote and a roadrunner. Their personalities clashed harder than spurs on concrete. On-screen, they might have been undefeated, but off-screen, they were just plain defeated by each other's company. Jane Fonda got on Wayne's bad side faster than you can say Hanoi Jane. While Wayne was all about waving the flag in The Green Berets, Fonda was busy protesting the war. It's like they were fighting their own personal Cold War, with neither side willing to back down. Gene Hackman didn't just rub Wayne the wrong way. He sandpapered him. Wayne couldn't stand Hackman's acting, saying he was the worst in films. Hackman could have won every Oscar in Hollywood, and Wayne still would have said he couldn't act his way out of a paper bag. Clark Gable made Wayne's list by insulting John Ford. This was a mistake. Wayne was more loyal to Ford than a sheepdog to its flock. Wayne might have tipped his hat to Gable's looks, but when it came to acting, he was ready to run Gable's reputation out of town on a rail. Frank Sinatra and Wayne's feud went beyond their political differences. It got physical when Sinatra's bodyguard yelled at Wayne during an argument. It's a good thing they weren't working together. Sinatra's bodyguard might have ended up needing to croon "My Way" from a hospital bed. Montgomery Clift and Wayne were like fire and ice on the set of Red River. Clift's method acting was about as welcome to Wayne as a vegetarian at a barbecue. Wayne probably thought Clift needed to spend less time getting into character and more time getting into the saddle. Anthony Quinn and Wayne worked together, but they got along about as well as cats and dogs. On The Guns of Navarone, Quinn didn't take kindly to Wayne trying to run the show. It was like two roosters in the same henhouse, bound to ruffle some feathers. Richard Widmark and Wayne had a full-on dust-up on the set of The Alamo. Tensions ran higher than a flagpole, and neither man was willing to back down. In this case, it wasn't just the Alamo under siege. Wayne's patience was too. Christopher Mitchum, Robert's son, found himself in Wayne's crosshairs after a heated debate on a talk show. Mitchum's environmental stance clashed with Wayne's business-first mentality harder than a tumbleweed hitting a cactus. Mitchum Jr. probably should have stuck to playing Wayne's son in the movies, where disagreements could be settled with a script rewrite. Last but not least, James Stewart. The details are murkier than a muddy creek, but Wayne wasn't a fan of Stewart's nice guy persona. For a guy who could charm the rattles off a snake, Stewart somehow managed to charm Wayne right into disliking him. So there you have it. 15 people who found themselves on the wrong side of John Wayne's temper. From Hollywood legends to up-and-comers, the Duke didn't discriminate when it came to feuds. He handed them out like a dealer in a high-stakes poker game. Maybe the real surprise isn't who John Wayne feuded with, but who he didn't feud with. But that's a list for another day. One thing's for sure. In the Hollywood corral, Wayne was always ready for a showdown. On screen or off. And that's no tall tale, partner.